All right. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of The Tyranny of Dragons. Yes, this is the first official published adventure from Wizards of the Coast that has a lot to do with dragons, which is probably why it's called The Tyranny of Dragons. See how they did that? It was like connecting it. The players below me are the people that weren't smart enough to say no when I said, hey, let me take your characters' lives in my hands. Thus far, to kind of catch anyone up that might be joining us for the first time, they all kind of met on their way to this really poorly named town called Greenest. They got there right as a giant blue dragon was attacking. They kind of took a nap involuntarily and then went to go find the cultists who'd been working with this dragon. After kind of clearing out the cultist little base of operations and finding some dragon eggs and a roper, they were sent by a member of the Harpers to a town called El Terrell, where they met with a member of the Order of the Gauntlet and were asked to kind of tail the cultists from Baldur's Gate, which they knew that they were heading towards, up to Waterdeep. We're having issues with internet connection, so everyone's pictures will be back very soon, I promise. Yeah, they were supposed to travel with them as guards for the caravan from Baldur's Gate to Waterdeep. Just before they got to Daggerford, they ran into an issue where they got into a squabble with some of the other caravan people, and Altier ended up killing one of them and was put on trial for murder. So the entire group stayed behind as the caravan left to try and figure out a way to get Altier out. After exhausting a few different options, they decided to meet with the local Thieves Guild and met a lovely gentleman who had them take care of someone, and in return they would be able to get Altier back. Altier, during this entire time, was having a very, very bad time. He was reconsidering his actions. He was realizing exactly how bad a situation he was in, and started to turn a little bit religious. He was starting to pray and meditate and just come up with some way that he was not going to die. And at the end of the night, somebody teleported into his cage, left someone with a striking resemblance to Altier dead and eviscerated in his cell, and pushed him out. The rest of the group was kind of informed, hey, your dude's back, and they went off to meet with everyone. You guys were able to fall asleep after figuring out, that Altier was back, but unfortunately, you are now bare minimum about a day and a half behind the caravan that you're supposed to be tailing. And that's where we are right now. So we are actually going to start, and I'm going to see, do I have the right music put in here? Puppy. I think this is the one I want.
You actually have music this time?
Yeah, I've had music all the time. I just keep forgetting to use it because it keeps breaking and then unbreaking and then, yeah.
Oh, okay.
There we go. So, all of you are asleep currently. And you're recovering from a rather intense ordeal from the night before. You guys are a little bit wary. You've had a very, very close call with the guards of the caravan, with a lot of other things. and then there was noise. And so all of you are having a bit of a rough sleep. Altier specifically, you've been having issues where every time you close your eyes after seeing basically someone that looked just like you get eviscerated in front of you. I'm going to wait to see if he comes back really quickly here. But the rest of you guys can fill him in. He's been having a really tough time sleeping because after seeing someone basically seeing himself get eviscerated in front of him by his own hand, it changed him and really made him think about exactly what had been done. And so, Altier, are you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Fantastic. All right, so you have been having a really hard time sleeping. Like every 20 minutes or so, you'll wake up in kind of a cold sweat. You keep seeing the face of this dying man looking at you as the light kind of fades from his eyes, and then you look down at your hand covered in blood and visceral, and then being shoved through that portal to a brand new place. And so this goes on for a couple of hours, and eventually, after kind of being in this kind of half sleep, half awake state, you hear this incredibly large or loud thundering sound from outside of the place that you're sleeping, and you immediately bolt upright. And the strange thing about it is, as you look around, you're not in a forest. You're not in a tent. You are currently in a building. And you know for a fact that you've never been here before, but something about it seems unmistakably familiar. And outside, you can hear some loud sounds. You can hear a little bit of screaming and yelling. You can hear a little bit of like panic outside. Not like a full-flown like battle or anything like that, but there's definitely something happening outside of this small room that you're in. So, what would you like to do?
So, are there any doors or anything?
There's a single door. It is poorly made. You can see there are many, like the boards in the door have spaces in between and that are large enough that if you get close to it, you can kind of peek out. You can see light spilling in from the top and from the bottom. The door itself is not really well fit to the doorway that it's hanging in. Other than that, it's just you and a bed.
Just me in a bed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm gonna get up, not seeing really anything else to do and confused about where I am. I'm just gonna like open the door, crack, and peek through.
As you look outside, you are greeted by a very familiar sight. You see the streets of Mulmaster in front of you. And you can see members of the cloaks kind of going around, pounding on doors, ripping people out, and then vanishing into nothingness randomly. And, some people are left alone, some people are kind of ripped away. You're not really sure what's happening. As you're sitting there watching, go ahead and roll me a perception check.
Okay. 13.
So as you're sitting there watching, you're noticing the cloaks, which you've never dealt directly with them, but everybody in Mulmaster knows who the cloaks are. And they also know that if they're showing up, something bad is happening. Either somebody has broken the rule about using magic in Mulmaster, or someone is going to be made to disappear. But you've never heard of so many of them being out in force.
Hmm.
They're the secret police. They generally show up where they're needed, and then they disappear without a trace. And these people are just running through. And as you're looking out, you see one of the cloaks opens up a door, screams something, points their hand out, and a ball of fire erupts from it, explodes inside the house, and you hear shrieking and crying out as the entire building is engulfed in flames. The cloak shuts the door and gets two members of the city guard to kind of stand there and hold the door closed as he walks away. And you can see the door itself is having things pounding on it from the inside, and the guards are just standing there until the pounding stops.
All right.
What would you like to do?
Is there another way into that house?
Not from what you can see. The part of the city that you're in is relatively familiar to you. You're not in the docks where you spent most of your time. You are actually in the Zent ghettos. The Zentarum do have a presence in Mulmaster, but they're so distrusted that they have their own ghetto that they're forced to live in. None of the buildings themselves are very big. They're generally like one-room buildings, kind of hovel type things. And you've never really spent a whole lot of time here, so despite the fact that you recognize where you are, it's very weird to be here.
All
Especially
right.
since you've never dealt with the Zentarum before.
All right. I'm going to leave the building, and I'm going to try and stealth to see if I can find another way in.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
That would be, what's my stealth? 16.
Okay. So, as you sneak out of the building, you realize that there's nowhere to hide here. The ghettos themselves are not known for being a very pleasant place to live, and it seems that all of the little alleyways and hideaways that are normally very prevalent because of just who the Zentarum are, have either been destroyed or set aflame. So as soon as you step out of the house, you realize that there's nothing for you to hide behind besides the people that are around you. And so your first thought is immediately to find a group of people that you can kind of huddle around and try and blend in to make it a little bit more difficult if someone is looking for you specifically to find you. You'll just kind of blend in with the crowd. As you move in to the closest group of people, as soon as you get there, you start putting on a performance and acting as terrified as they are. And they kind of turn and look at you, and as they look at you, their faces grow pale white. And they scream, and there's this little kid that kind of looks up at you, just starts bawling, and a female nearby, you assume it's the child's mother, just kind of grips the little kid and kind of holds him very, very close and kind of looks at you and just starts pleading pleading for the life of her child, for her own life. You can see the other people in the group have already scattered. They were smart enough as soon as they saw you to just bolt. But the child was paralyzed in fear, and so this mother is just sitting there and pleading, "Please, please, don't do this. You don't have to do this. I really just don't."
As she's crying, I'm just gonna kind of step back, shocked at this. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna look around at everybody running away, and I'm going to dash in the other direction.
Okay. As you do, you run directly into one of the cloaks. And as you kind of run into them, he kind of looks at you and pushes you back a little bit, kind of grabs you by the shoulder and he goes, "Are you okay? Come on." And he kind of slaps you across the face. Not hard, but enough to kind of get your attention, kind of snap you out of your confusion. It's like, "You've got a job to do. Go." And as you kind of look
I'm
around,
going to.
you
Yeah.
start noticing that you're not wearing the clothes you're used to wearing. You are wearing dark clothing, all maroons and browns and things like that, and you have this very heavy cloak on covering your shoulders with the hood up, looking identical to the rest of the cloaks. And clasping the cloak is the insignia of the cloaks themselves.
I'm gonna search my person and see if I still have any of the wooden symbol of Eldath that Ollie had just made me.
You're you're not seeing anything as you sit there, kind of feeling around. You do find something in your pocket, and thinking that it's a symbol of Eldath, you reach into your pocket and you pull it out, and you see the dagger that was forced into your hand, that was then forced into the stomach of the lookalike, uh, that you basically were forced to kill on your way out of the prison, and it's covered in blood and viscera, and you start noticing that your hands themselves are absolutely covered in blood, dripping almost. And a member of the cloaks that's right in front of you turns to you and goes, "Listen, you've got a job to do. Go over there and do it." And kind of pushes you towards the woman that is now as paralyzed with fear as her child is.
I'm gonna walk up to them, but then drop the dagger and say, "I I don't want this."
Go ahead and roll me a just straight up wisdom saving throw.
7.
So as you sit there, for some odd reason, the dagger itself starts feeling more and more comfortable in your hand. And as you sit there going, "This isn't right, I don't want this," you start to let go of the dagger, but your hands don't quite answer to what you're telling them to do, almost as if they have a mind of their own. And you keep walking forward. And again, at this point, you're starting to realize that something's not wrong. So you start trying to slow your gait a little bit, try to figure out what's going on, and you're not. You're moving closer and closer, and you finally come right up to the woman and just swing the dagger wildly, slicing across her throat as she falls down to the ground, with the light leaving her eyes, just leaving a child sitting in the middle of the ground, just weeping openly.
I'm gonna look at the dagger again and just look up at the sky, and I'm like, "If you've helped me before, if I don't have the strength to stop myself, please help me again."
Make me an original, a religion check. Make me an original check. Blah, 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 blah.
Original check. Cool. I don't know what that skill is. 15.
Okay. So as you're sitting there and you're realizing what you've just done, and this child is kind of holding on to its mother's body, kind of sitting there and trying to wake up his mother from what you know is her eternal rest, you start to feel absolutely sickened, and you can start to taste, just in the back of your throat, that kind of pre-sick feeling, and your vision starts to swim a little bit, and you feel a hand on the back of your shoulder, and you see the cloak that had talked to you before finally sits there, takes the dagger out of your hand, and destroys, stabs it into the child there, finishing what you now understand was the task that you were given. And he looks at you, and without thinking, you immediately just start looking around, and while there's kind of death and destruction everywhere, you can see through the main road through the Zent ghetto, you can see the docks area. And for whatever reason, you feel this incredibly strong longing to go there, to go to a place where things made sense for you, to go to a place where things are familiar, where you've felt safe before. And you can see it no more than 100 feet behind the cloak that's in front of you right now. What would you like to do?
I will triple dash in that direction.
Okay. Make me athletics or acrobatics, whichever you prefer.
Okay. 16.
All right. Was that athletics or is acrobatics? Okay. So as you sit there, and again, you can feel yourself. Something is massively wrong with yourself and with this whole situation. You start to move towards there, and the cloak in front of you grabs you, takes your hand, and thrusts the knife into it again, and goes, "What in the hell are you doing?" And as he sits there with this kind of death grip on your cloak, you immediately drop the dagger, flip your arm around to kind of catch his, and force him out of the grip that he has on you. And as soon as you do that, you bolt, running as fast as you can. All around you, you can see destruction and devastation. You can hear voices behind you screaming. You can see out of the corner of your eyes cloaks turning towards you and pointing hands and wands and orbs in your direction. You can see lines of red and blue and like a sickly lavender kind of color all come arcing in your direction. You feel at first fire explode on your left shoulder blade, and then in your right lower back, you feel this unbelievably cold, chilling presence, like someone has just shoved a frozen knife into your side. And then straight in the center of your back, you feel this overwhelming kind of energy start flowing through you. You immediately start feeling sick and start feeling weakened, and you're just doing everything you can to keep going. And you get 50 feet away from the docks, 40 feet away, 30 feet away, and I'd like a Constitution saving throw.
Con 9.
You wretch. You land on your knees, kind of surrounded in your own sick. You are beside yourself now. You can see the cloaks are getting closer and closer to you. You're now crawling, doing everything that you can to get to this location of safety. You see it now 25 feet, 20 feet, 15 feet, 10 feet. At this point, you are almost surrounded by cloaks, and you can see literally just 10 feet away, just barely outside of reach, you can see the safety of the harbor, and you can't understand why, but you know beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you can get to the docks section, if you just can get to that area, everything will be better. What would you like to do?
I'll just throw myself forward to try and reach what I think is home, what I think is warm.
Okay.
Just all of my ability, just keep going that way.
All right. Make an athletics check.
Oh, thank God I rolled that, because I believe I have a -1. Yep, so 15.
All right. So as you sit there, the cloaks fall on you, basically. They start lifting you up. You can see daggers and swords and magical implements and things all pointed at you. You can see one member, the one that for some odd reason keeps talking to you and keeps finding you, kind of brings you close to his face, and you can smell just rotting flesh and the most disgusting, revolting smells you've ever experienced coming off of his breath as he brings you in close, and he goes, "You are not who you think you are. You belong to us. You will never leave. You will never change. This, and he turns you around and shows you the devastation of the Zent ghetto. He goes, this is who you are. This is what you do. And as you see there, you feel this uncharacteristic surge of strength as you sit there and smash his arm, feeling a very satisfying cracking sensation as you break his arm and it releases you. The other cloaks nearby immediately start pulling their weapons to attack you, and you simply launch yourself backwards, feeling blade after blade impact you as you just blow through their ranks and finally land in the docks district of Mulmaster. And as you sit there, you can feel yourself bleeding. You can see your vision slowly becoming a tunnel. But something very bizarre happens at this point. As you look around, you start to kind of shake yourself. You look down, expecting to see your lifeblood just flowing out of you and kind of preparing yourself for the end of your existence. And there's no blood. And as you look around again, the Zent ghetto is gone. As you look around even more, you're in the docks district. Like it looks like the docks district. You can see your father's business not more than about 50 feet away. And you can see other buildings that look very familiar. But instead of the opening onto the Sea of Stars that you're used to seeing, you just see kind of a grove with a lake in the middle of it. And standing in the very center of it is a woman. She has this kind of flowing dress on that has a slight greenish blue tint to it, and despite the fact that there's no wind anywhere around you, her hair is blowing in the wind, and her dress and scarf and everything is just kind of fluttering in this unseen wind. What would you like to do?
I'm just gonna calmly just walk in that direction towards her.
Okay.
Just like kind of in shock of everything that's happened, that I'm not dead. All that.
As you approach the edge of the lake, you can see the lake itself gets very, very deep very quickly. You wade in a little bit and you can feel the cold water on your legs. It goes up to about your calves as you kind of wade in a little bit. It's not painful cold like it would be if it was the middle of winter and you stepped into a frozen lake or something. It's actually a very refreshing feeling. It's definitely cold. It's probably the coldest water that you've ever felt, but something about it is invigorating and kind of awakens you. You start breathing deeper from just the experience of the very quick temperature change. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna speak out to her like, are you the one that created this?
And the woman, kind of floating above the water in the center of this lake, kind of looks at you, and without her lips moving at all, you kind of see this smile in her eyes, and she kind of gives you a slight nod and then raises her hand and gestures. I just realized you can't see my hand way over here because it's not on camera. But she raises her hand and kind of gestures for you to come closer.
I nod and I keep walking to her.
Okay. As it gets up to your knees, the cold of the water, again, is surprising to you. You've never felt anything this cold. It's not painful, but it's very noticeable. And every time you take a step deeper, it forces you to inhale from sheer shock. And as you get closer and closer, it gets up to your thighs and then up to your waist. And you're starting to notice that it's becoming harder and harder to breathe because you just keep inhaling more and more every time you go out, but you're not giving yourself a chance to exhale, and so your lungs are just getting more and more full, and you're not really sure what's going on. You are now about 30 feet away from the center of the pool. You're about high waist, just below your rib cage, in water.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
I look at her and just getting a good feeling from it, I'm just going to keep pushing on.
Okay, give me a Constitution saving throw.
Boy, come on. That would be a 12.
So you keep pushing forward. Eventually, you're up to your chest. You're having an incredibly hard time breathing. Your vision's starting to swim as your brain is not getting the oxygen it's supposed to have. You push forward up to your neck, and now it almost feels like you're choking. The water itself is surrounding you, feeling almost as if there are 1,000 tiny needles that are just barely resting on your skin, not breaking it at all, but very, very noticeable. As you're 10 feet away, you realize that in order to get to her location, you are going to have to go beyond what you can keep your head above water for. What would you like to do? And he turned into a robot. We're gonna just wait for a couple of seconds to see if he can come back really, really quickly, due to the fact that there's quite literally no other player characters anywhere near him.
Meanwhile, think of unicorns and rainbows after that brutal visual.
Yeah, there are. So, yeah, my therapist has never really said that I'm that, like, mentally sound. Not sure I'll tell her about this.
Just waiting for Stephen King to make an appearance.
Did you guys hear what I said at all?
No, you turned into a robot. What'd you say?
Okay. I said I'm just gonna look at her, and if she truly did create all of this, with this like feeling of it being refreshed and everything, I'm just gonna nod at her and just step forward, letting my head go under the water.
So as you step forward, you begin to sink. And at first, you were expecting to sink a little bit because, again, this lake is a very steep incline. It's very, very deep in the center. You couldn't even see the bottom of it when you were at the edge. But as you continue to sink, you don't hit the bottom. You're sinking for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 40 seconds, 50 seconds, a minute. All the time your lungs are burning and pleading with you to allow something in them to nourish. All the while you're feeling this unbelievable cold like ice peeling off your flesh. And just as it gets to the point where you don't think you can stand it anymore, you suddenly, out of nowhere, your head breaches the surface and you take in this massive lungful of fresh air. And you slowly start rising, and you realize that you're in the center of the lake with this almost alien-like beautiful woman. She's so incredibly beautiful that you can't really place it, and so much of her features seem completely alien to you. Her face is so perfectly symmetrical, it looks like it's from another world. Her skin is so pure and perfect that you try as you might, you can't find a single blemish. And as you sit there heaving and gulping in more air, and you start to feel better about yourself, you suddenly realize that there is a hand on your shoulder, and instinctively you kind of cower away, because as soon as the hand touches you, you feel an immense power that you have never in your life felt before. As you look upon this creature, you realize that there is so much more power in this one being than you have ever experienced in anything, from the cloaks, from the dragon that you observed attacking Greenest. This dwarfs all of that. And the woman herself looks at you and kind of smiles with her eyes again and says, Altier, you've come.
I have. I don't know where to, but I have.
Your hands are stained with blood. And as you look down again, you can see the blood that never ceases to stop dripping off of your hands.
I just look at it and I see like the flashback of the guy who looked just like me, and I shudder at my hands, and I look back to her, not wanting to look at my hands.
This is not good. You are not meant for this death and destruction. You have wondered why this blood will not leave, will not stop flowing from unseen wounds. This is the blood of innocence. You've spilt it and are forever marked by it.
Is there something I can do to redeem it?
Paying the price of an innocent life is insurmountable. There is no mortal form of payment that can make up the cost of a single precious life. If you wish to pay for this heinous act, this will be a task you will never stop for the remainder of your existence. Is that what you want to do?
It is.
And at this point, you don't really know when, but you realize that you've kind of fallen onto your knees and you're looking up at her. And she kneels down, kind of like a mother comforting a crying child, and takes your hands. And as you're sitting there looking at her, she kind of gestures down, and you look at your hands, and they're still dripping with blood. And as she holds on to them, you start seeing the blood itself starts to stain her hands. And as she sits there holding you, you start noticing that the blood is not dripping as much from your hands. It's starting to clean up, and your hands themselves are starting to almost glow. They're so white. But you notice that her hands are now being completely covered by this blood. And as she steps away, you can see just her hands are covered in this blood, while yours are now completely pristine. And
I'm gonna look at my hands and look at her hands, and I'm like, what did you didn't...
the price must still be paid. You, for now and for the rest of your life, will use those hands to protect the innocent, to heal instead of hurt, and to only strike down those who are truly wicked in the attempt to save more lives than you take. Do you understand?
I do.
Your life has now become immensely more difficult. There are few in existence who have ever been able to live with the task you have just accepted. I will help you as often as I can, but this is your task, your penance for your crimes.
I understand.
And as you sit there, you start noticing on your hands, they start to glow slightly in the palms. And as you sit there, you can see the flesh of your palms starting to actually burn in this radiant fire. And you can see a pattern start outlining in your palms. And as you look at it, you recognize the holy symbol of Eldath is now burned into your palms. And as she sits there, she again kind of smiles with her eyes and says, "Awaken." And you wake up with a start. You can hear your pulse in your ears. As you look around, you can see the rest of your party members completely asleep. Not really reacting to what has just happened in your mind. You're again in the forest. You can see the campfire that you built. You can see the road that you guys have been traveling on is probably about 600 or 700 feet away through forest and things like that. You're in a small clearing where you went to sleep the night before. But you feel different.
Give me a second.
The rest of you guys, roll me perception checks with disadvantage.
Uh, 14 for me.
Okay.
12.
Okay.
17.
Okay.
16.
All right.
13.
All right, so all of you guys. Since Altier got out of that dungeon, you guys, he didn't tell you what happened. You just know that he's not there anymore. I believe it was Ollie. Were you the one that got the symbol carved on you?
Yes.
Okay. So you still have that symbol, and you know that something happened, but Altier has been completely unable to talk about what it was that happened. However, you guys knew that he hasn't been sleeping really well tonight. Like he turned and tossed, but when he stood up, almost like completely stood up out of a dead sleep, it actually startled all of you, and you kind of looked around to see what's going on. You can see Altier just kind of standing there next to the fire, absolutely covered in a flop sweat. Looking a little bit paler than he did before. What would you all like to do?
I go over to him and ask him if he's okay and what.
As soon as he comes back, he'll probably try and answer that.
Oh,
No,
No.
that's exactly what I expected you guys to do. I was hoping he would be back at this point. Yeah, he seems a little bit startled. Definitely different from the Altair that you've been dealing with thus far.
Can you hear me?
You can. We can now. Lillian came over and
Okay.
asked you, "Are you okay?"
I'm just gonna look at her and like gripping palms still, looking at them every now and then. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I think I am.
Alright.
Anyone else want to do anything?
What time is it about?
It's pre-dawn. Like the sun hasn't risen yet, but the sky is starting to get a little bit lighter. You guys know probably within an hour and a half, the sun will rise. Obviously, an earlier start to your day than you probably would have wanted, but it's not an unheard time for people to start. Any of you guys that have ever done any sort of farm work, this is generally technically sleeping late for farm staff and things like that.
Can I roll an insight check on Altair?
Just
See if
a
he's...
quick count of my inventory. I don't have anything on me, right? Aside from the clothes on my back.
You when you were pushed through the portal, you landed on the gear that was taken from you when you were arrested.
Okay.
So,
So I have like everything that would be in my inventory normally.
yep. Ollie, go ahead and
Got
roll
it.
an insight check.
That's a 15.
So, looking at him, you haven't been traveling with him for that long. Not quite as long as the rest of the party. But something about him is definitely different. Can't tell what, but he seems changed somehow.
So this technically constituted as a long rest, right?
Yes, yes.
I am wearing gloves over my hands, by the way. So
Okay. When you woke up and you looked at your hands, there was nothing on the palms.
all right. So, are you guys ready to head out?
This is about getting to catch up. We're out far behind.
Yeah.
I think so.
All right.
So it sounds like we're going to be packing up the camp and starting to head towards Waterdeep.
Okay. So, you guys are still about probably 2 days' journey from Waterdeep itself. What would you guys like to do? Obviously, if you just go down the trade way, you will eventually get to Waterdeep. But again, since Waterdeep again is about 2 days away, maybe 2.5, there's a very good chance that by the time you get to Waterdeep, the caravan will have already left with no way for you to really figure out where it went. Beyond getting lucky and finding someone who was able to track them in your absence. So, knowing that information, what would you guys like to do?
I'm gonna walk over to Brennan and I'm gonna be like, "So, what have you been doing the past while? You've been silent."
Brunette apparently says nothing. Hold, please.
Sorry, I'm dying.
Probably not the greatest idea in the world.
Yeah.
All right, so Altair comes over to Bryn, goes, "Hey, what's going on?"
Hey, nothing. I forgot how to breathe. It's all good. It's
I just nod
fine.
at Brennan and I'm like, "All right."
Breathing is a foreign concept. What's up?
I guess we're just trucking along.
So I don't
That was
think,
good.
I don't think Champ can hold everyone. Sorry.
Yeah,
Hmm.
no.
If you guys would like, you can try and hire horses in Daggerford.
Why do we do that? Because I need to
I
find.
have a feeling I don't want to go near that city again.
In that case, can I have some of your gold? Because I'm broke and I can't do this without money.
Anna knows something about gold.
I mean, I lucked out and didn't have to buy a new horse for Sir Mistress.
I could buy a horse, or not buy a horse. I can rent a horse.
Because I want to
Or
also
two.
see if I can leave Champ at a stable so that he's not following us
We
everywhere.
have a horse.
Yeah, but
He's
Can I
not-
look involved?
Champ's pretty rough.
I mean, if our friend over here, and I'll point to the
That's true.
stag, wasn't so stingy with passengers.
You get the idea that other than maybe Altier, and even that would be pretty rough, this stag is just not big enough to carry a passenger on it. It's not like
I
a
see.
moose or an elk or anything like that. It's a deer.
But I'm very light. No.
Yeah.
How much
So
gold do
if
we
you guys
have?
if you guys would like to send a small party back to get horses for everybody,
Yeah.
if you want to trade your broken horse for a new one, that will affect the price a little bit.
So I think Ollie, Bryn, and myself go.
Oh, but I'm not gonna make that decision. That's up to Valdis. It's kind of his horse.
Si, senor.
Can Chris
Um,
not hear me? I don't think he can hear me.
Chris, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right, can you hear Valdis?
I cannot.
That's random.
That's weird.
That explains a couple
Check,
things.
check to see if you accidentally have
I'll
him
be-
muted.
I'll be back.
Okay.
So
How far away is Daggerford?
It's a whole day, you know?
Well, you guys are about half a day away. A
It-
small party can make it pretty quickly, especially if
'Cause
you
I
have
was-
horses. Like you can make it in probably like 3 or 4 hours.
Because I was going
there
to
and
say,
back.
technically, I can change into a horse and carry somebody
for like 2 or 3 hours, I believe.
for actually 2 hours at a time now.
Hey, I can hear Valdis.
All
I
right.
didn't
So-
realize my. So I could turn into a horse for a total of 4 hours, but I would only need to be a horse on the way there.
Yeah,
could ride
so,
on a horse
Yeah,
on the way
if somebody
back.
wanted to ride on Enna, you guys could probably get there in an hour.
Cue the fanfic. Anyway, so
No.
I think Ollie, Bryn, and myself should go get the horses.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bryn
Or
isn't known in Daggerford.
Yeah, it's very true.
And
Yeah.
I never went in there, so they have no clue who I am.
Yeah, I
I should
don't
probably
know it always said they were working on him.
All right, I'll stay behind with Percival and keep him entertained.
Okay.
So I think just Bryn and I could get them all then, because we only need what?
Well, 1 horse for each of you. So it's 6 horses.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. So
How much gold do we have? Because I have 6.
Well,
I have the
since they were kind enough to give me my wallet back, I have 235.
I have 79.
Okay, I think we're
Okay,
good then. Bryn's pretty loaded.
okay. So you guys get there, and they have a stable, technically just outside the city, just because it's easier with people that are passing by and things like that. You guys come up to, and you see this guy kind of tending to the horses, big bushy mustache, kind of turns like, "Oh, hello there, sir. What could I be doing for you?"
I'll kind of nudge Bryn. This is your part.
Oh, hi. Hey, person.
Hello.
We need horses.
Well, you come to the right place. As you can see, and he kind of points to the stables, which has horses. I've got horses. I tend to prefer people paying for them, though. So, do you have coin?
Well, we do, but we need a decent number of horses, so...
And
you
he
seem like
gestures to
a-
his full stables. I got plenty, as long as you got the coin.
Well, you seem like a pretty understanding and cool dude, especially with that accent. So, can we, work a deal?
How many horses are you thinking you might be needing?
We need 6, right?
Yeah.
We need
7.
we need
Yeah.
7.
Oh, yeah.
All right, then. 7 horses, how long do you need?
Oh, right, we have that one dude.
How long do we need the horses, guys? How long?
Just to water deep.
We just need them to get to Waterdeep.
Oh, that's good. My son actually works over in Waterdeep, and as soon as you get there, there's a stable right outside of the westmost gate. And if you just go to him, he'll be able to stable the horses for you and bring them back to me, so we don't have to worry about you finding a way to get the horses back to me personally. For that service, for 7 horses, all the way out to Waterdeep, and then if we do that, we can probably... I'd say about 50 gold for the lot of them would be perfect.
For the lot. You know, that seems pretty reasonable, sir.
All right, then. We have an accord?
Yeah. Yes.
All right, now, if anything might be happening to these horses, let's just say, don't let anything happen to the horses. I happen to have a good acquaintance of mine, and you see from out of the stables this massive wall of flesh just start wandering over. You can see he's got this rusty-looking bastard sword hanging from one of his hips, and this just gross-looking shield slung over his back. He's got this just drool coming out, and he comes over. This happens to me, me other son. Not quite as good in the business aspects of the job, but he's really good at finding people who damage the horses.
But he's just an interesting mountain of man.
And as you say that, he kind of looks at you and comes over and wiggles his eyebrows a little. He's like, huh?
Yeah. Hey. So, anyways, no, nothing's gonna happen to the horses. We're just, boring travelers. Nothing interesting
see
ever
him
happened.
Come over a little bit closer to you, Bryn, and kind of sheepishly looks down at his feet as he takes something out of whatever, loincloth type thing he's wearing.
Oh,
Lord.
And kind of pushes it towards you. The smell is overwhelming. You're not really sure if it's the object that he's handing to you or himself. But in his hand is something made out of wood. You think it looks like it was carved. He's just kind of holding it out to you with this just shit-eating grin.
Oh, thank you, kind mountain man, sir. Thank
That
you.
means that he likes you. The last girl he gave one of those to became his wife. Oh, it was sad what happened to her. She was a great lass before. Well, anyway.
No, what happened? Tell me, please.
Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing that bad, to be perfectly honest. I mean, she didn't feel anything. It was just like that, and it was over. She had a beautiful ceremony. And you can see the tall monster of a man just sitting there sheepishly going...
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that, and I wish you all the best.
He extends his hand out with whatever it is in his hand towards you again. Wiggles his eyebrows.
How about I will collect that when I come back?
And he kind of looks at you, and he looks at his father, and he looks back at you, and and the father goes, "Oh, he seems to have taken a shine to you, lass."
Shit. Uh,
And finally goes, Dobby, go back to the horses. And he kind of slaps him on the rump. Go back to the horses. I'll be sure to give her anything that you want to give her. That's absolutely fine. And he's like, and he walks back in. Dobby's a nice boy. He really is. Just not always quite there.
totally
So,
understandable.
do we understand each other? The horses, you protect them with your life, or Dobby will come and have a nice conversation with you. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Oh, wonderful. 50 gold pieces, please.
I hand over the money.
All right. Now, again, you make sure you drop off these horses with my son. His name's Philip. He's a lovely boy. Again, right outside the western gate of Waterdeep.
Got it. I will make sure your horses are returned all nice and alive.
All right, then. You have a nice time. The finest horses in all of Daggerford, right here. And he brings out 6 decent-looking horses. They're not amazing.
Didn't we ask for 7?
7. Whatever.
There we go.
I want to ask him if he's willing to take in Champ.
And he kind of looks over. He's like, well, to be perfectly honest, I can't really pay for something like this. He's obviously been abused quite a bit.
Oh. As long as he has a place where he's not going to be abused and just taken care of, you can have him. I just don't want to take him with me.
Dobby! And you see...
I hide behind the horse.
Dobby, this one here, he belongs to you now. You gotta treat him very nice, though. And he comes over, and with kind of a grace and subtlety that you did not expect of this lumbering creature, he comes over and very, very gingerly pets the horses. That's nice, Dobby. Yes, yes. Remember, soft touch. Soft touch. We don't want him turning out like those foxes you had. No, you're going to be good with this one, aren't you, Dobby? And he takes the horse away.
Alrighty. I think with that, we're going to grab the horses and go back to the group as quickly as possible.
All right, you have a lovely time. Remember, turn in those horses once you get to Waterdeep. Say goodbye, Dobby.
Yeah, we'll start making our way back towards the group with the horses.
With the horses in tow, it's a little bit difficult for... how many of you were there? Were there just 2 or 3?
2.
2. We're going to say 2. 2 people leading 7 horses is a little bit difficult. It takes you the better part of about an hour and a half to get back.
Yeah.
But you do make it. You have these decent-looking horses. So, what would you guys like to do?
I think we're going to mount the horses and make for Waterdeep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. And while we're on the way to Waterdeep, I'm going to be pestering Ollie about Eldath.
Something's wrestling.
Sorry, just had a weird sound at home.
Okay.
Well, if I go dark in a fire explosion, you guys will know why. Yeah. So, as you guys are going, and Altier keeps pestering Ollie about a deity that Ollie doesn't worship.
Yeah? I kinda do.
No, Ollie worships
I was
Eldath.
thinking Valdis. Never mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking
Yeah, I'm the odd man out.
Valdis was the one that worships Myliki.
Okay.
So Altier keeps kind of bothering Ollie. You guys push the horses pretty hard. Not enough to do any serious damage, but you get the idea that you're starting to catch up. As you guys are kind of pushing pretty hard, you eventually come to a part in the road where there's just this really big hole, probably about 5 feet in diameter, and about, roughly about 6 feet deep. maybe a little bit more.
That's a big hole.
Is there anything in the hole?
Would from what you can see from just glancing at it, there's a lot of dirt in the hole, but it's very loose. Would you like to kind of sift through it?
I'm just gonna kind of look around and see if there's anybody watching the hole.
Make me a perception check.
That an 8.
You see nothing. You
Is
notice
there
the
any-
area that you're in. There's a little bit of trees and stuff around, but for the most part, you guys are in kind of a plainy area. So there's not a whole lot of places for like cover here. For like
Are there
animal
any-
or anything like that.
there any destroyed caravans or wagons around?
No, you do see wagon tracks and things like that, but it's the tradeway. It's covered in them.
Since we are away from the caravan, I want to actually use one of the fuzzies real quick so I don't have somebody attacking.
It's a hole.
You throwing the fuzzy down the hole?
No. I'm trying to protect it.
So you
I
guys
cast
watch as
detect
Valdis
magic.
pulls out his beanie baby, throws it on the floor. Go ahead and
You
roll.
mean Ollie?
What is it? A D8?
Yeah. I got a 5, which is a black bear.
And a black bear appears.
And I cast detect magic because I can.
It's a black bear that's made out of magic. It
Really?
glows like a Christmas tree.
Is there any magic at the hole?
Yeah, that was the point of the detect magic. But
Oh, nope.
okay, so
All
it's
right,
just
so-
a hole.
All right, so I get down off my horse. I grab my bag of holding and make like a big show, like I'm looking through it, trying to find my rope.
Okay.
And I accidentally just toss my healer's kit and just drop it next to me. Grab the rope, tie it around me, leave an end out, and then just kind of walk over to the hole and start trying to sift it with my quarterstaff. See if
Make
I can
me an
find anything.
investigation check.
Okay. 4.
You're relatively certain there's dirt in there. Without
I wanna
like,
get-
going into the hole, you're having a real hard time really looking for anything.
You know what? This sounds like fun. Is how much of an incline are the walls going down the hole?
Pretty close to vertical. But again,
Alright.
it's a 6-foot drop, so even if you went all the way to the bottom of the hole, you would have no problem climbing back out of it again.
Yeah,
All right, I'm going in the hole,
I am too. It looks
trailing the rope behind me.
So Anna kind of jumps into the hole right as Ollie jumps in. It's very tight quarters for two people.
I did not jump in.
fun. No, Valdis jumped in.
Valdis jumped in. Oh, sorry, I've got the names mixed up.
I was wondering. I was like, I don't have a bag of tricks.
Yeah.
No, I forgot that my brain hurts. I had the wrong names because you guys are both just pictures and I just didn't. It's been a long day. All right, so who jumped in? Valdis jumped in?
Yeah.
Okay, so Valdis and Anna jumped in. It's very tight space for two people. But go ahead and both of you roll me investigation checks.
13 this time.
Okay? Valdis?
21.
So Anna, as you're searching through, finding a lot of dirt, you do eventually find something. It's hard. It's kind of crescent moon shaped, very very small. And as you look through it, you eventually realize it's a toenail. Valdis,
boy.
on the other hand, as you're kind of searching through everything, you find something hard and metallic, and as you pick it up, you actually kind of poke your finger with it accidentally, not realizing that there are parts of it that are sharp. As you pull it out, it's a pin, and the pin itself is in the shape of a heart.
Oh. Now I kind of want to dig around to see if there's a body that this belongs to.
From all the kind of digging and ruffling, you guys have gotten through just about all of the loose dirt. There is like packed earth all around it because, again, this is a road that's been traveled over and over and over again. Digging into it is not the easiest thing in the world. The only thing you've been able to find, other than the toenail, is that pin.
Okay, well, I'll kind of pocket it and just tell Enna that there's nothing else. We might as well just get out.
Okay.
So you guys, after a little bit of grunting and working together, you guys are both able to get out, kind of dust yourselves off.
Oh, there's no dusting needed. I just press the digitation myself.
So Enna is dusting herself off. Valdis just waves his hand and all the dirt disappears.
It's okay. I like being one with the earth.
Oh boy.
So, it doesn't really look like much besides this pin. And
As Valdis kind of shows it to everyone, go ahead and make history checks. Everybody.
that's really high. Yeah, that's a 24 for me.
21 for me.
It's,
Okay.
8.
I think
21.
Okay.
4.
history
Yeah, history.
15.
All right. So everybody but Enna and Lilianne, you guys look at it, no idea what it is. You're not even sure it's a pin.
I do have a Harper pen.
Yeah, that's what makes this so weird. You're like, that is so weird. The rest of you guys instantly recognize this is a Harper pen. Most of you guys, even though Enna, are you a Harper now? I'm trying to remember.
I don't know that. I don't think I'm a Harper, but I have one of their pins.
Okay. So
I think
you
I'm
guys
the
have
only
heard,
one faction.
you guys have heard stories of Harpers. Like they've been known for years. You guys know that Elminster has worked with them, and depending on who you ask, is one of them. You've never heard of a Harper losing their pin ever.
Which makes me think it was a struggle.
Right, roll.
Bum bum bum.
It's
okay, Scoop. It's gonna be okay.
That was amazing.
Like scope.
Puppy power.
Oh no, not Scrappy! Get out.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
I wind up my rope, put it back in the pen, and put it back in my bag. Go, oh look, who left a healer's kit here? Dust it off, stick it back in my bag of holding.
Okay. Anything else the rest of you guys want to do before you head on?
Nah.
Okay. So you guys travel on for the better part of the rest of the day, and ahead of you, you see a large, well, ahead of you and off the road a bit, you see a very large campfire with a bunch of wagons around it.
Right, roll.
Not going there.
You need to hang back.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that you all kind of realize very quickly is they had a good day and a half head start. You guys have been traveling for about a day-ish. There is no way you should have caught up to them this quickly.
Unless something happened.
I could turn into an animal and investigate to at least see if it's the same caravan or see what I overhear.
Do it!
I can go spy.
We could also
Safest
do
choice.
the safer way, and I could recast my owl and see if it dies a third time.
I don't, what's so dangerous about a cat wandering around the camp? Or a dog?
Either way,
Other than
somebody
the
needs
fact
to go
that cats
do it.
don't generally live this far away from civilization.
Yeah.
Rat?
Yes.
I'm open to suggestions.
Squirrel.
Oh, yeah. Timber.
Raccoon.
I like, well,
A rabbit.
Ash panda.
Yes, be a trash panda and go Scooby Doo it. Go Scooby Doo it.
I go trash panda and will attempt to scout out the encampment.
All right, you are. The first thing you notice is how horrible your eyesight is. But you've got decent hearing. So you scuttle off in your trash panda AUA. Go ahead and roll me a stealth check.
Ooh.
What is the stealth of a raccoon?
Just use
I was
your stealth. There is no stat block for a raccoon, so just use your
Okay.
stealth.
Be with advantage with the raccoon.
Well, normally it'd be advantage, but due to the fact that he's having such a hard time seeing,
Oh, very
I'm
true.
just gonna make it a straight roll.
21.
21. Yeah, you have no problem. As you're wandering through, the first thing you notice is smell. You smell things cooking and things like that, which you kind of expected. And you are kind of surprised at how adept this particular form is to knowing exactly where not only like cooking food is, which anyone with a decent sense of smell can find cooking food, but you are smelling crackers that are in people's bags. You're smelling iron rations and things like that. Like, you have a pretty good idea where most of the food in this camp is. But then something else kind of hits your nose. It's this very kind of irony, metallic scent that you're having a hard time figuring out what it is until it just kind of hits you. It is the smell of blood and death. Not a ton of it, but something that's not being cooked has died recently.
I will follow my nose to that
Go ahead and roll me
very
a perception
carefully.
check. Or survival,
Sorry.
whichever you prefer. Perception
Oh,
or survival.
22.
So you sit there kind of darting in around the camp. You do get spotted once and get swatted with a broom by one of the caravan members. But you eventually make your way to a larger tent. From traveling with the caravan long enough, you recognize this is the wagon mistress's tent. And the smell of blood is coming from there.
I have to get closer to see, like, who has been murdered. So I try to sneak under the tent or something.
Okay. Make a stealth check for me.
12.
Super lucky I'm rolling. So you do manage to wander in. Again, your eyesight is pretty bad, but your hearing's pretty good and your smell is amazing. You look, there is a table, and on top of the table, not really ceremoniously placed, but obviously put there on purpose, is a dead body. You can see the wagon mistress talking to another person that you don't really recognize. And there's a couple other people kind of wandering around. That's the reason why you weren't immediately noticed, because there's nothing really to hide behind in this tent. It's very large, and it has kind of like a partitioned off section where you assume the wagon mistress sleeps. But it's pretty wide open.
Okay, do I
Go for it.
recognize the body?
Roll me a history check.
That is a 17.
You don't recognize him. It's really hard for you to see. Again, the raccoon has such bad eyesight. It's really hard for you to see much from where you are. You do recognize he's wearing a guard's uniform. but you don't recognize the face or anything like that.
So like a wagon guard.
Yep.
Or okay. All right, that's all I need.
Because they all, like, none of them wore, like, an official uniform or anything like that, but they did all wear the same kind of thing. Like, they were all in this kind of hardened leather armor. They all had, swords and stuff like that. The only ones that were really wearing anything different were the ones that came with you guys. And even then, there was kind of a color code that they kind of expected you to wear.
It doesn't smell like Guinness?
Does not smell like Guinness.
Okay. All right, then I will slowly back out of the of there, and as I make my way back to the group, I want to kind of keep an eye out for the gentleman who is abusing the horses to see if I can see his wagon.
Okay. Roll me a perception check.
15.
Okay. As you were kind of wandering out, again, you've got decent hearing as a raccoon. As you're leaving, you do hear little snippets of the conversation between the wagon mistress and the other people in there. And you hear the phrase, "I did not hire him," and then you're gone. As you kind of wander around the camp again, you get swatted by another person with a broom. But you look around, and your way back to the camp, you're not able to see his wagon or him specifically. But again, you have to be kind of careful to not end up as someone's dinner.
Yes.
So...
I really wanted that whip. All right. I head back to the group and just like immediately pop up and start gesturing, and then realize, oh. And then I turn back
you
from a
guys
raccoon.
see the most bizarre thing you have ever seen. You see this raccoon come up and start gesturing, very human-like, and then starts like pointing to people, and then starts like pantomiming things, and then it just kind of shakes its head, looks at itself, goes like this, and then transforms into Enna.
But how long was he? Or how long was Enna gone?
Let's say about 20, 25 minutes. Not very long at all.
Okay.
You guys aren't that far away from the wagon train, simply because it's a very large fire and nobody's really looking out right now. It seems like the entire camp is kind of focused inward. I mean, there are guards and things like that, but there are so many people passing and using the trade way. Nobody's looked twice at you guys.
So, that is our caravan. I was able to sneak into the wagon mistress's tent, and there was a dead guard who had been placed on the table. Or at least he looked like a guard. And then, there wasn't really a place for me to hide and kind of like see, stay there and listen. But as I was backing out, I heard her say, she kind of like pointed to the body and said, "I did not hire him." So I think somebody was posing as a guard and was discovered. Or was attacked somehow. I don't know.
So I think we should camp a decent distance away and just take turns on watch, and if they move out early, wake everyone else so we can keep up.
Yeah.
We should probably... I guess a campfire wouldn't be out of the ordinary, but I don't really want to draw attention to us.
We certainly don't want to draw attention to Altier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people will remember the stag, so...
Does anybody have like a cloak we can hide him with?
I got the extra stuff that I've been holding on for when we got the Cult of the Dragon mask and robes, since mine weren't damaged.
That might not be the best idea.
At least we could tear up the robes.
Let's turn him into a cultist.
Although that could trick the people in the caravan that are working with the cultists.
Eh.
I think they all have higher intelligence than a kobold.
How about more flowers?
I think we could probably just fashion some kind of like rudimentary hood out of it that he can wear.
I have an
Most
idea.
of you
I need
are
a.
traveling with, like, because of rain and things like that. Most of you travel with bare minimum a weather treated cloak.
Yeah.
Like that would
I need.
be something that most people travel with. So
Just get me a mask and some stilts, and they'll never know the difference.
I mean, you could fit in the bag of holding. Not a good idea, but you could.
No.
I think for now we should just camp and take turns on watch.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I'll take first watch with the bear.
all right,
I'll
Oh,
take the last watch.
oh, the
okay. Who wants
Yeah.
third?
I'll
I
take
can
third.
take third and fourth. Or
I'll help
Mister.
with third.
Okay,
So three people on third watch. Let's go.
No, I'll tear you sleep.
Fine.
all right. So first watch. Who's that again?
That's me, Ollie.
Roll me a perception check.
Uh, 15. Do I roll one for the bear as well, since I still have that bear out?
Sure. Go for it.
Bear. What is that? Oh, they also have advantage.
Because they're bears.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
Bear stuff. Bear stuff. Bear stuff. Bear stuff.
That's
bear
a 19 for the bear.
Okay, so throughout the night, you guys kind of keep watch over the camp. You notice that the guards for the camp have noticed your campsite and have been kind of keeping an eye on you as well. Since it's a little bit bizarre for a group to see a large protected campsite and not at least come over and see if they can share in the protection. So you're both watching each other, but not a whole lot changes. Not a whole lot happens. Second watch.
Ten.
Very similar to the last one. You notice that they're looking at you and you're looking at them, but you don't really see a whole lot of change. Most people are sleeping. You do watch a change of the guards, and that's about it. Third watch, which is everybody in the world.
20.
All right.
16.
Okay.
Valdis told me to sleep, so I just said, all right.
All right. So you guys watch, and during the third watch, you see a little bit of commotion. You see a smaller group kind of move away from the camp and go into the forest for a little bit. They're gone for about 20, 30 minutes, and then they come back.
That's sketchy.
Fourth watch.
Last watch? Then that'd be me and Enna.
Alright, so perception checks, please.
It's a big whopping 7 with my disadvantage because no night vision.
Lovely. You see nothing.
And
Anna was on third watch.
Anna's an elf, so I think
Anna,
he
you're
took third
muted.
as well.
Oh yeah, he took both of them. And I also can't hear you. Are you muted?
And then you're muted, I think.
I rolled an 8. Sorry.
No,
Oh, boy.
you guys are both just kind of sitting there, sharing stories, stuff like that. Don't even notice the other camp.
So this file was really pretty.
Yeah,
Yes.
trading flower stories and like, oh my god, like I was totally thinking like this flower really brings your eyes out.
I'm just not paying attention to the watch because I'm like just trying to make stuff up because I don't know anything about nature.
Yes, this is. See, the scientific name of this flower is Supercilius prettycorallus, and yeah, it got that name from the original Draconic, actually, meaning awesome.
It's a true story.
So you guys, you wake up, and your the first thing that you do is you make sure that everybody is kind of ready before the wagon train leaves, and they generally leave relatively early in the morning. They get up, give people enough time to get some food, and then they go quickly. So you guys are all ready and waiting for the wagon train to go, and nothing. They're still there. The wagons are still circled. You do see a few people in there are obviously making breakfast and things like that. But there seems to be a lot of commotion and conversations happening around, and no one's leaving.
Seeing as how we're all recognizable, and I believe their exact words were, "I hope I never see you again, or I'll kill you." I don't think we should go and say hi. We know where they're going, so we could kind of loop around and beat them to Waterdeep.
I want to find out what's going on. I
think you're the most trusted one out of all of us there.
Well, I'm just thinking I can do a spy thing again, turn into a field mouse and scurry over there.
Just a thought, by the fact they caught up so fast and the fact they're not moving, I think they've been here a while.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain that that hole in the ground was the result of magic or dragon, if not both.
What about that red, I forgot what it was called, the red guy.
Yeah.
We could, and I kind of like look at the others. I don't know. We could try sending in Percival. That's probably a bad idea. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's not a terrible idea, but it's not a good one.
Percival and his faithful companion, Fluffy, and I turn to Enna.
Percival's not within earshot, is he?
Percival, the stag Percival?
No,
Percival,
the guard man.
The guard that
we
we
forgot that
took
you guys kept
care of.
The guard. He, everyone's within earshot. Like, you all slept around a fire.
Hang on a sec. Okay. Hey, Percival, I wonder if you could do me a favor. I would really appreciate it. If you could go down to the river and fill my water skin.
Oh, certainly.
I mean,
that would be. Where's the river?
Do I know where the river is? I do have a good understanding.
Near a river.
According to the map I'm looking at, there's only two, and we're not near either of them.
Yeah, you guys are basically in the Ardell Forest.
Yeah.
There's probably some
like a stream,
fresh water somewhere, but you got no idea where. Maybe like a little forest lake or something like that. But yeah, the major river that goes into Waterdeep is still a day's journey ahead of you.
But there's not like a stream that I noticed on the way here?
Nope, y'all didn't look for a stream.
Can I ask Percival if he knows by any chance what could cause that giant hole we passed? And that would be from the area?
Sure, he kind of thinks. He's like, well... I've absolutely no idea. Like, I've completely forgotten Percival and the character I created for him. I have no notes about him. He was just a secondary character that I forgot about.
He was like this kid that...
You
He was this kid that believed he was like this higher justice thing, and he put on this big
Yes.
act, and he really liked Anna.
Super,
Yeah.
super,
Very
super
flamboyant.
righteous paladin. You know,
Oh,
super
yes.
righteous. And he liked Anna until he saw Lilianne.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Anna's got the twigs in her hair and the dirt, and which is odd for an elf.
And Lilianne is great with her super pale skin, looking like death warmed over. Even even
She
with
had
the
that
like
makeover
super
going on.
awesome makeover,
Yeah.
she
There
has
are
this
people
thing
who
for
do that.
dying and cutting herself. So
Maybe he's in.
so he goes, of course, I of course can fill your water skin. However, I don't remember passing any sources of fresh water recently.
You're right.
There was no accent.
I'm
not
not
cool.
using an accent anymore.
This is kind of
This is
oblivious.
just like me, super tired and exhausted, trying to use my heroic expression. Yes, of course I am. So anyway,
That's close enough.
he's like, yeah, I don't actually know where there's a, but of course I can find something. It may take me a little while.
Not really understanding what Enna's trying to pull. I just go to Percival and say like, well, I can just conjure water.
And he's like, perfect. I will take, and he just takes Enna's water skin and just kind of holds it open
Does anyone else want theirs full?
Faldus. And he looks in, he's like, this water skin is mostly full. Are you worried that by the time we get to Waterdeep, because that really doesn't make...
I
you
get
don't
very
drink that much. I mean,
I get very thirsty when I'm traveling on the road. I'm parched even
so
now.
he just-
Here, let me.
He's
let me
lost
just
a
take-
lot of his like, pomposity and goes over to Valdus. Do you want to, like, just for, yeah, Anna wants water.
I'm gonna go over to Valdus and I'm gonna pat him on the back, and in halfling I'm just like, "This is a quest you must take."
Okay.
Be like, okay, I don't want to drench all the horses. I create a lot of water. I don't hold back. Maybe we should go back a little bit.
You know, I think. You know what? I would probably just. I'm fine for right now.
Great, then I have succeeded in this task.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much, sir. You're my hero.
As I am with many a fair lady.
Pop the lid back. Put it in the bag of holding.
So now that that's
Well,
over,
So what are our options? One of us could go over there. That could turn out to be very bad, perhaps.
Yeah.
I could spy, try to see what I can come up with,
I mean,
or
might
what I
as
can
well.
overhear. You could try the owl.
I could.
Mr.
And
Owl, how many licks does it take to get the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I think more appropriately, Mr. Owl, how many times are you going to die this campaign?
Many, many times.
It takes me a little bit to cast the Find Familiar, so if
At
you
least
wanted
it's
to...
not as bad as it used to be. 100 gold a pop.
Oh wait, we don't have a brass brazier, so I can't cast it out here.
All right, I'm gonna go. I think Field Mouse is probably the best bet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll try to stealth as close as I can,
Nope.
find a bush.
I will cast invisibility on him when he heads out, so that he has some extra guarantee of not being seen.
So you're now an invisible field mouse.
The
I
most
can't
deadly.
wait for him to come back and try gesturing to you guys again.
We're not even looking at him.
You guys just start hearing this squeaking sound from nowhere.
Ollie steps on a weird thing and just all of a
Flash.
sudden Anna's under his foot.
And
Flashbacks of rats and sewers.
go ahead and roll me stealth check with advantage.
16.
As you get there, you don't really have too much difficulty getting there. Nobody notices you. And as you come in, you start seeing that the entire camp has kind of been gathered around the campfire from the night before that's now kind of burned into ashes and charcoal. And you can see the wagon mistress addressing the group. And as a mouse, you don't have like the most sensitive hearing, so it's kind of like you're listening through a wall, just because it's not really used to hearing that. You're kind of underneath a wagon, but you get the main gist of what's being said. From what you understand, someone was murdered the night or the previous day, and they've been investigating it, trying to figure out who it was. The person was wearing guard's clothes, but wasn't a guard, and was stabbed with a bladed weapon larger than a dagger. More likely than not, a short sword or something similar to that. And you hear, like, the group itself trying to, sort of casting blame and something like that. And eventually, someone from the other side of the camps, you can't really see who they are, says, well, there's a group of adventurers that are camping no more than maybe 400 or 500 feet away from us. I mean, why wouldn't they try to join us? Why in the world would they stay out there unless they had something to do with this and are making sure the job was done correctly? We should question them and find out exactly what they're doing there. And you start hearing murmurs of approval and things like that. And the wagon mistress goes, fine, and kind of looks to her, send a contingent, bring them in, figure out what in the hell's going on.
So if I have invisibility on me,
Mm-hmm.
if I were to change shape, drop my wild form, and then take another wild form, would I remain invisible?
As long as concentration is not broken and you don't attack anything. However, I'm going to make you roll for it. So go ahead and roll Anna, roll me a concentration check. Just to see if you can concentrate well enough to not kind of disrupt the spell that's been cast on you.
What would a concentration check be?
Because it's a constitution check, basically. You're aiming for
Okay.
10 or above.
7.
So as you sit there, realizing what's going on, you immediately transform back into your humanoid shape. And as you do that, you accidentally bump a wagon, thinking that it's something trying to attack you. You immediately come around and just slam your fist into it, hoping that'll be enough to scare the creature away trying to grab you. As you make that attack, your invisibility drops instantly. Valdis, because you're the one that casts the spell, you sense the spell end. And you are now standing, not in the direct middle of anything, but kind of the outskirts, with people just giving you a very wide berth. Just kind of standing there. The wagon mistress is looking at you. All the guards are looking at you. Your friend kind of notices you and goes, "Hey, hiya! Oh, shit!"
I'll kind of tell the group that the spell I cast is gone sooner than expected, so be prepared for anything.
Oh,
Hi, everybody.
The wagon mistress immediately goes, "Get him!" and you see guards kind of almost instantly come in and they grab you by the arms. So, seems that we have a stowaway, don't we?
I wouldn't say stowaway.
You seem familiar. And as soon as she says that, you hear, "Oh, wait! Don't worry about this guy. She's with me. She's with me. No. What it was is, I had this trick. See, there was these people, and they kind of slighted me. So we were gonna do like this funny trick where he kind of appears out of nowhere and scares everybody. I kind of forgot to tell him that the trick was off when everything was going on, so that's totally my fault." And she kind of looks perplexed at this gentleman and then looks at you, expecting something.
See, what can I say? I was trying to help out my friend, Levinus Longnose, and well, I must have not gotten the message. I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to cause any trouble. I you really need to work on our communications. So I'm terribly sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry too. This is entirely my fault. And with the dead guy and everything, is just, there's so much going on. It'll never happen again, I promise. And she kind of looks at you a little bit closer and kind of sneers. But doesn't
I am
really...
covered in dirt,
Yeah.
so
She kind of just shakes her head, turns back to the guards. Go get whoever in the hell is in that camp. Bring them to my tent. We need to figure out who is killing people here. And she storms off. And your friend comes over, kind of goes, yeah, let's this. And as he kind of pulls you very roughly away, he's like, "What the hell are you doing? Trying to get me killed here?"
no, but thank you so much. I really appreciate that. We were just trying to understand what is going on.
You were back in Daggerford. That's where you had a friend who was in jail for, killing somebody. Did your buddies?
Well,
Your buddies they're screwed.
They're
really screwed.
I swear to you, we had nothing to do with any murder here.
Of course not. You weren't even here. You were back in Daggerford.
Right.
I
Yes.
know that. You know that. She'll probably figure it out eventually. I mean, I've never really thought of her as the most intelligent person in the world, but, she's got a brain in there somewhere.
Yes. I need to warn my friends. See if they can
they're, by the time you can get to a place where you can get away, like the guards are watching her, if you haven't noticed. They're watching this pretty closely. By the time you get away, like, your friends will be here. Like, that's all. Unless you got some kind of magic way to like, contact them or something. Like, you're going to see your friends. Like, they're not going to die or anything, but they're going to be here real soon. I got so many stories to tell. You will not believe what happened. Like, while we were going down the road, we found this guy is just buried all the way up to his neck. As we get him out, he's in his skivvies, and he was buried in there. And, some people were saying that he was like a traitor or something because he had, like, traitor, painted across his forehead. But I was like, nah, he doesn't look like a traitor. He just looks like a stand-up guy.
Where is he?
I don't know. He's here somewhere. I kind of lost him.
Do you think we could find him?
Well, yeah, he has clothes now. And he wiped off the traitor thing, so he's not quite as much fun to look at.
No, but if he is who I think he might be, he may be able to help.
You think he's the one that killed him?
No.
He seemed like a nice guy, and he didn't have no weapons or nothing.
I think he may be someone important.
All right, well, yeah, we could probably find him, but we're going to have to wait till a lot of this stuff dies down. While this conversation is going on, you guys have been watching the camp. You noticed a lot of commotion going on. What happened with Enna was far enough into the camp that you guys didn't actually see it, but you did notice kind of waves of commotion and conversation happening after it happened. And let's go with probably Valdis. Roll me a
This is Valdis.
perception check.
Alrighty.
And probably Lillian too.
18 for me.
Since you guys are generally a little bit more careful than the rest of them. Lillian, you are rolling golden today.
And Valdis did notice the spell break.
Yeah,
so he knew that.
that's why Valdis is rolling it. Valdis, you notice. You don't notice until it's almost too late, but a group has circled around behind you guys and is closing in on the camp.
What do their outfits look like?
You can't really tell from where you are.
Okay.
You don't really see people, but you do notice movement in the trees, and you hear some snapping twigs and stuff like that. So you just know that people are someone is enclosing on the camp. And from what you gather, what was it again? A 19?
18.
18. Yeah, with an 18, you get the idea that it's at least you're looking at least like half a dozen to a dozen people coming around the camp from all sides.
Let's see. I guess I'll say in halfling so that at least give Altier a warning that we're possibly surrounded.
All right, I'm gonna pull the hood of my cloak down a bit, and I'm gonna wrap the cloak around my shoulders so that's covering my front as well.
Okay. So you guys watch as Valdis says something in a language most of you don't understand, and then you see Altier kind of huddle down and kind of close himself off inside this cloak, and then immediately you guys see movement out of the trees, and you see a bunch of swords and spears pointed at all of you. These men just kind of appear out of the trees and go, "You! What are you doing here?"
Talking to me?
Just talking to the group in general.
We were headed to Robinson.
Wait a minute. And one of the guys comes forward. "I know you. You're the ones that were traveling with that murderer. I think we know what's happened here. Where's your friend?" They start looking around and not really ransacking the camp, but kind of looking around, and they eventually come to Altier, and they rip his hood down. It's like, you're coming with us. You're all coming with us. And they start bringing out ropes to bind your hands.
Our group has a thing for prison.
Yeah, we really do. What do you guys want to do?
This is how we're outnumbered, and there's possibly more coming. I don't think we should fight back.
There's no reason.
No, I gestured of all this. No, we don't fight. If I hand you my weapons, do you really need to bind me?
Of course we do. And they take your weapons off you and start very roughly tying your hands behind you. From your background as a ship merchant, you get the idea that these guys have no idea what they're doing as far as knots are concerned.
I understand.
You think you would have no problem breaking out of this particular thing. From your own knowledge of knots and things like that.
I humor him and I'd stay in it for now.
The rest of you guys, similar experiences. None of them are really attempting to secure you really tightly. It's mostly just kind of a show and to make it slightly more difficult for you guys to, act out. Nothing like, they're not manacles or anything like that. Or even tied exceptionally well. After you're all captured, you're brought back to the camp, and you're brought to the wagon mistress's tent. Enna, you see them being brought forward with your friend. And he goes, "Oh, shit. Yeah, I told you. You know, they're going to Wagon Mistress's tent, and you know, without some sort of character witness or something like that, they're probably going to get that whole murder thing pinned on them because it don't look good. Maybe
What do you think?
maybe you and I should wander in that general direction. You know, maybe we find
Yeah.
out something."
And I try to make sure all my weapons are stowed in my bag,
Okay.
and all my armor and stuff. So I just have my traveling clothes on.
Hey, that's a pretty good looking bag.
Yes,
You
it's
put a lot of stuff in there. Like that bag. That bag looks a lot, small. Like you put a lot of stuff in there. That's impressive, man. I'll have to tell
Yes.
some people about that. That's a cool story. All right.
It's bigger on the inside. Yes, let's go.
All right then. And you guys wander over. As you guys are taken into the tent with the wagon mistress, she turns around. Her eyes rest on Valdis, and she instantly recognizes him. Looks at the rest of you and goes, "Oh dear gods! It had to be you." And then she sees Altier, and you.
Hello again.
Well, you're not in jail, so they must have found you innocent by some bizarre reason.
Yes, and we were in Daggerford until last night.
What the hell are you doing here? Why is it whenever I see you, something bad is happening?
The fates must not like us near each other.
Shut up. And as she sees that you guys are all still bound, she motions to her guards, and they untie your hand. She's like, "This is..."
So, what happened?
She
You said something bad happened.
she points to the dead body on the table. She's like, "Somebody was killed, and this is not a member of my guards. I know every guard I've ever hired, even Floozy over there." And she points at Valdis. "I remember."
Do I recognize the body?
Roll a history check.
Me.
Both of you guys can roll history checks.
I'll try it too. Why not?
Close, but that's a 25.
Shit, dude.
16.
Done.
RN Jesus does not like you right now, Lillian.
No.
I'm taking all your RNG, Lillian.
All
I
right.
got a natural 20 on that.
Damn. Valdis, not. What'd you get, Altier?
16.
Okay. Valdis and Ollie. Everyone else, something about this guy seems familiar, but you can't place it. Valdis and Ollie, you guys recognize him from the cultist camp. He was someone that you just kind of glanced at as you guys were going through there, but this is a cultist.
The camp where we rescued Leozen?
Mm-hmm.
Huh. I guess I'll kind of...
And as you're kind of looking at it, you start realizing that one of the things that makes the wagon mistress so good at her job is she reads people like a book. And seeing the kind of acknowledgement in your eyes, she comes over to you and she's like, "Who is it? I know you've seen this man before."
I'll explain. I don't know the name, but it was just someone we happened to see in passing when we were...
All right, no, we're not doing this anymore. All right? Everything about you guys smells weird. I hired you on because you had skills, and now every single day something weird has happened as long as you've been in my caravan. Now, you recognize the guy that's been killed. You're going to tell me everything now. What the
trying.
hell is
Right.
going on?
I step forward and I'm like, all the guards of the tent. I'm like, you've hired these. They're trusted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Valdis, go ahead.
Like, as I was trying to say before I was interrupted, this is a member of the Cult of the Dragon. We happened to come across him earlier when we were giving a task to rescue somebody for a town called Greenest.
Wait. The Cult of the Dragon are crazy people. They go around in funny robes. They worship dragon bones. They've done nothing for 100 years. And the last time they tried to raise a Dracolich, they got their asses handed to them.
Greenest was sacked.
Yeah, maybe you should look at Greenest. It was completely sacked by these people and a giant blue dragon.
It was sacked, their riches were stolen, and we're looking for them. That's why we're here.
Well, then, what the hell are they doing in my caravan?
I don't know, but we got information that they were traveling with you. And we got ourselves hired on to make sure we keep an eye on the members that were traveling with you.
I'm gonna whisper, I'm gonna say to Valdis, check his body for magic.
Well, I assume the wagon mistress heard that, and I'll just kind of motion, can I?
Sure, go ahead. Look at it as much as you want.
I cast detect magic.
There doesn't seem to be anything magical about
Got
the
you a
body
medicine,
itself.
maybe?
Okay, just making sure.
Okay, I just didn't want us to be watched or something.
Yeah, looking at the body, there's really not a whole lot. Valdis, you kind of think back to just magical maladies in general. Nothing. Like, it's obvious what killed this guy. He has a large hole in him from a piercing weapon.
I wonder what happened to him. Was he betrayed? Did he betray
That's what you're
them?
supposed to tell me. Do these guys normally infight? Like, I've never dealt with the Cult of the Dragon, but from what I've heard, they're fanatics. There's no reason why they would kill each other.
I'm going to ask
the group that we fought was a mix of those fanatics and a large number of seeming mercenaries.
I'm going to ask the wagon mistress if she knows anything about the Red Wizards.
You mean Red Wizards of Thay? Yeah, they're necromancers. Nobody trusts them.
Exactly. Then why is there one in your caravan? And I'll describe the gentleman that I saw earlier that when we were getting attacked.
Because he paid. Listen, I don't like him, but he paid. There is no reason for me not to trust him.
Did you notice every time when stuff went down, he was nowhere to be seen?
Yeah, because he didn't want anyone knowing he was a Red Wizard of Thay. They kind of have a bad rep. I knew it. He told me when he came on.
Wait, if he's a necromancer, he might help here.
Yeah, if we want a zombie. I mean, if you want, I can send for him. I'll see if he can do something about this, but...
I don't like that, but that might be a good idea.
Alright, and she motions to one of the guards. Go get him. So, an awkward silence kind of falls over. About 10 minutes passed, and you hear some commotion. I did nothing. Why are you bringing me here? There is no... And this guy gets pushed in. He's like, oh, I see what this is. I am going to tell you right now, I had nothing to do with this. I do not even carry a weapon that could perform that.
I'm just like, we don't believe you did this. We know what you are. We don't care. We're asking for your help in this matter.
Well, that is slightly different. What exactly are you asking for help with?
Is there any way to discern information from this? And I just point at the body.
Well, you
what
could
happened,
look at the
who
body.
did it.
You could see there is a giant hole in it, and you could figure out that it was probably done with what? And he kind of looks at it for a second. I'd say a short sword. Do any of you carry short swords?
I'm just gonna look at him and be like, "Do you have a way of talking to the dead?"
He kind of looks around a little bit. I can manipulate the dead when I need to. Talking with them, that is not an ability I am familiar with. That is, you obviously are not familiar with my kind. We control the dead. We don't have tea parties with them. Speaking with the dead is a clerical type thing, and even then, they are not particularly, they do not particularly enjoy it. Even clerics of Bahal or Mask, you know, the darker clerics are not particularly fond of speaking with the dead. It is an unsettling process.
I'm gonna ask the wagon mistress, how long ago was this man murdered?
Well, it happened not the previous night, but not last night, but the night before it. We awoke to find the dead body just outside of camp. We decided to stay here, having had a second person murdered in as many days, to try and figure out what in the hell was going on. And, well, we still haven't been able to figure it out. There's been blame thrown around, but until you showed up, we didn't really have a good suspect. And now that I know who you are, kind of back to square one. Listen, she turns back to Valdis. Listen, you recognize this one, right?
Yeah.
Do you know which wagon he was traveling with?
We did figure that out, so.
Do you want me to roll a history
I
check?
just kind of.
Sure. Yeah, Valdis, roll me a history check.
Go, well, let's go.
20.
Try as you might, you haven't seen him since the camp. So you know he was in here, but you didn't see him the entire time you were working as a guard.
I'll
I'm
ask.
gonna try and think back and see if I can remember anything.
How much have Longnose and I heard about this? Heard about what's going on? Probably much of anything.
Nope.
I completely forgot that you guys are outside.
That's okay. I don't really want the wagon mistress's attention.
About this time, you hear a commotion from outside, and in gets pushed in Longnose and Anna. He's going, hey, I'm just trying to help here. My friend here might have some information. Oh, hi. Yeah, this is... And the wagon mistress kind of goes, really?
Who are these people? They seem very dangerous.
Oh,
Perhaps we should
God.
be going.
Just shut up.
Anna, you don't have to.
Anna? Who's Anna?
Oh, that's your name. Oh, this person... Oh, shit, my bad. Anna? Who is Anna? This is Floyd, my, wife. And just pulls you in really tight.
I speak in halfling to him. You really don't have to. We're cool.
He just kind of looks around. So, there's a dead guy in the table. Maybe we should deal with that instead of my, wife here. Yeah.
Anna, I look at Anna and I'm like, Anna, Cult of the Dragon member that's dead. Cult of the Dragon member that's dead. Anna.
Interesting.
So now we're here and we're trying to figure this out.
Listen, the wagon mistress speaks up again. Listen, I can't keep people here for another day. We're a day outside of Waterdeep. Despite my better judgment, I trust you guys. If you want to travel with us to Waterdeep, I can get rid of this whole thing, and then I really don't give a shit what any of these guys do. They can kill every single one of them for all I care.
I'm going to ask her, just kind of cluing in on the fact, like, oh yeah, what happened with that giant hole we passed?
There was a guy from a previous wagon. He was buried up to his neck. They said he was a traitor. He said he wasn't. A few people felt sorry for him, gave him some clothes. He traveled with us.
Is he still here?
Yeah, we originally thought it was him that did it, but he doesn't have any weapons. He barely looks like he could defend himself.
May I see him? Could you point me in this direction?
And she points to a guard and says, go get him. And the guard leaves. Another 10 minutes pass. And
has anyone searched the body to see if there's anything on it?
I mean, I would assume, but I didn't.
Yeah, I assume that she did.
hold on for just 1 second. I have to figure out this guy. Okay. So he comes in. He's like, unhand me. I've never in my life been treated so poorly. Well, other than when they buried me up to my neck. But that's beside the point. I thought we were behind that. What do you... Yes.
I kind of like walk up to him and say, oh, sir, I apologize. I wanted to speak with you. And I kind of like move my cloak a little bit to show the Harper pin underneath.
Make a sleight of hand check.
Absolutely.
Flash to the whole tent.
So I'm just like,
what'd you get?
Hey,
a 5.
A 5.
So you guys watch as Enna tries to be really, really subtle as she opens her robe a little bit, unintentionally a little bit too far, and the pin itself falls to the ground, but so do other things, and she just immediately starts kind of covering herself up, getting very, very red in the face. Enna's doing that. The rest of you guys make me perception checks.
I want to roll 20 once.
Okay, so that was a natural 1, so lucky.
But 22 for me. So
21.
Wow, now you're rolling well.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah,
17.
that's what you gotta do.
18.
Okay. What did you finally get, Altier?
13.
13. So everybody but Altier, as you guys, Altier, you're kind of watching Enna as she tries to compose herself. The rest of you guys notice, in movement so fluid, it really doesn't make sense for someone like, because this guy that's been brought in, he looks a little bit disheveled. He looks not really old, but like kind of weathered. You know, like he's been through a lot, and he just looks rough and everything. And then all of a sudden, you watch his foot kind of just move incredibly smoothly and slyly, and very quickly just kind of covers up the pin with his foot. And without anyone else in the tent noticing, the pin is now gone. He goes, well, madam, that is certainly, I mean, I certainly understand how someone with my, incredible body and amazing looks might, sway some of your persuasion, but I must tell you that I am a bachelor by choice. I find women in general complicate things, and I've never really found a woman that could keep up with my rough and tumble lifestyle. So, as much as I appreciate the offer, I must tell you that this is certainly not what I think it should be. Anyway, wagon mistress, did you really bring me in here to find me a date? And the wagon mistress just looks at it. I don't know.
I apologize. It was a wardrobe malfunction. That was not my intent.
I look at the wagon mistress and I'll just be like, how about we just leave your tent, give you some time, and we'll figure things out.
We're leaving in the morning. Talk with
And I'll-
whoever you need to,
All right.
but unless you can pin this death on something, we picked up, I don't know, 12.5 new people in Daggerford, dropped off almost that many. I
So
would be hard-pressed
a
to
bunch
figure
of
out who it
fresh
was that did
faces.
this.
All right.
And we can't stay any longer. We've stayed too long already.
All right. Kind of walk
course.
out, and I'll make sure I'm like right behind the gentleman that kind of swooped the pin, because once we're out of earshot of all the guards, I want to talk to him.
I very carefully bow and thank her and turn to follow the gentleman out the door.
Those of you that rolled high, almost imperceptibly, you watch him kind of drag his foot and then launch the pin into the air, and he grabs it out of the air and sequesters it away without anyone being the wiser. So he kind of wanders around.
I want to talk to him when we're out of earshot of people.
So he goes to kind of a
Same.
more secluded area of the camp and goes, "What the hell is wrong with you guys?"
That's Anna. She is always like that. Not very subtle.
I apologize. I was just trying to very subtly let you know that we were
You are
safe.
obviously not one who harps. Where did you
No.
get that pin?
It was Leozen and Arbiter Brahm, I believe.
Yes. Yes.
Why did Leozen send you?
Because I'll
what the
explain.
hell you're doing here.
Because there's
You've noticed
remember-
that his mannerisms have changed drastically. What before looked like, again, a weathered, kind of decrepit man is now, you realize that he's much younger than he looks.
I'll explain. There's members of the Cult of the Dragon in this caravan, and we were tasked to find out where they're going with whatever it is they took from Greenest.
Okay.
And where they're going to.
Right, I mean,
And then I'll kind of reach in my pack and just very subtly hand him back his pin.
and he sees his, like, great. Well, at least that didn't go to waste. I'm actually, I'm actually doing the exact same thing you guys are.
Well,
Well, that makes sense that they would be.
Can I insight check that?
Yeah, that's
yeah, I want to as
Yeah, go
well.
for it.
I love this dice.
Oh man.
Oh wait, wrong book. I need to look at my sheet. Oh wow, I'm
Well,
23.
25.
Seven.
Not knowing him very well, it's very difficult to read him. And even those of you that got really, really high scores, the one thing that you do kind of realize about him is that he is a master at manipulation and not really like, you can tell that he could probably not really lie, but he understands how to construct a sentence where he doesn't technically lie, but he's not actually saying the truth either.
So he's a politician.
Well, he's a harper, and even with like Leozen was kind of the same way. Like, they're all very secretive, so he fits the description. reading a Harper takes an immense amount of ability and familiarity with them that you guys simply don't have. So,
I want to
best
ask
guess
them.
you have is if he wanted to lie to you, he could.
Can I have my pin back, please?
Oh, yeah, just be more careful with this.
Of
I
course.
mean, yeah, a lot of people know about the Harpers, but they've never met one, and we'd like to keep it that way.
Of course. The only reason I did it was to attempt to earn your trust, which apparently I failed at.
Well,
Perhaps you could give me some notes on
yeah,
the sleight of hand that you did.
I'll
Perhaps.
give you the master class later. Listen, I was following a similar group to the one you guys are following. They got suspicious of me, so I passed off my information to another Harper at a roadside inn. Unfortunately, it seems that the cultists saw the meeting, realized who I was, and tried to get the previous caravan to kill me. I was able to convince them to just bury me in the road instead. According to everyone else, I was betrothed to marry a woman, and I decided against it. And therefore I'm a traitor and all these other things, and that's why I was buried.
Alright. Do you know anything that happened about this recent murder? We all... The one who died was a Cult of the Dragon member.
Well, that I'm aware of, but it happened at night, and there was a lot of, let's say, interesting people that came on at Daggerford. Any one of them could have done it. I doubt the cultists would have done it. They have their own way of dealing with things, and they're almost as secretive as we are. It doesn't make sense for them to kill someone and just leave them around, especially someone that can be traced back to them. That's sloppy. And this new cult is anything but sloppy.
Yes.
I have a question, Mr. DM.
Yes.
Did our stag friend follow us when we were tied and bound, or is our stag still like 500 feet away?
They probably wouldn't have taken the stag.
Okay.
They had a very singular focus. So your stag friend is probably free wherever it wants to be.
Since we're free to come and go, I kind of want to go back and grab the stag if you guys want to just hang out here.
Yeah, I read about her saying the same.
Okay. So Liliane and Valdis kind of head off.
We're never heard from again.
Yes. Before he leaves, he goes, by the way, the name's Carlin. Carlin Amethel.
I'm going to give him a fake name. I'm going to say, my name's William.
Great, William. I'm Lord Neverember, and I rule the Council of Waterdeep.
I mean, it's my real name, but sure.
Yeah, and that's my real name, too. I'm a Harper. We deal with lies on a daily basis. If you don't want to tell me your name, that's fine.
My name is Anna Nialo. It is a pleasure to meet
No,
you.
it's not.
Yeah, and he just kind of ignores you. I'm going to try and get some sleep, maybe get a little bit more information, but I know Waterdeep really well. If you guys need any help, let me know. I've got a few contacts there. They might
Well,
be
I'm
able to
from
point me in the right
Waterdeep. I'll be
direction.
fine.
Thank you very much.
Gotcha. Hey, be careful. There's been quite a few Harpers that have been disappearing, and despite the fact that you're not, you carry one of our pins. The cult may not really discriminate, if you understand my meaning.
I understand it quite well. Thank you.
Yeah,
They're at the bottom.
And I kind of just cover the pin a little bit more.
Be safe. Watch your backs. Something bad's going on.
All right, take care, Sir Emberbottom.
He walks away.
He will forever be Sir Emberbottom to me.
So Valdis and Liliang, you guys have no trouble finding the stag. You do notice whenever you bring him near people, they have a very, very hard time keeping their eyes off of him. But word has traveled around the camp about what Altier did to the last person that tried to take it.
I'm gonna walk the stag to the wagon mistress and explain the situation so that people.
She's not really seeing anyone right now. Like it's late. They're going to rest one more night here, and then they're going to go.
I'll explain it in the morning.
I would like to take this time to introduce Lasvius Longnose. This is Percival. I think Longnose has such a gift for oratory, for telling stories, and Percival, I know you have
Well, I write
done
stories
such historic things.
with my incredible abilities. I'm certain someone with the capacity to tell those stories will find me a welcome companion. And he's like, oh, really? What kind of stories are you making? Like, yeah. Well, I am a mighty paladin. I slay evil beasts. No kidding. My second cousin, he's a paladin too. He actually did this thing one time. You know, we was making this midwinter feast. You know, everyone was, it was the solstice and everything, and there was this really great feast. Anyway, I was chopping stuff up, and sure enough, wasn't paying attention, chopped my finger off. He comes over without missing a beat and just says a couple things in the ooby-dooby language that I don't even understand, and the finger's back. You know, such an amazing thing, you know? And then he just kind of walks away. He goes, go with Lathander. And then he just walks away. He's a really cool guy. Got killed, though. You know, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world. He got killed by, well, he may have followed Lathander, but he had his vices, and he might, maybe slept with the wrong woman and then kind of end up floating in the bay. But, whatever.
He knows everything about everyone. He's incredible.
Yeah, it's a talent of mine. I never forget a single thing, and I just have this ability. I'm able to go where things are happening. So you and I, yes, of course. I believe we will be fast friends. Oh, totally. I can use a little bit of muscle, because moving my stuff through here, it's gonna be pure. And they just kind of walk away together.
Well done.
So, anything else you guys want to do tonight before you guys get heading out tomorrow morning?
I lean over to the group, and I'm like, as Percival walks away, and I'm like, who the hell was that?
Oh, he was in charge of babysitting you.
You don't want to know. He is a friend that we made, and he was instrumental in helping getting you out.
Can I insight check Anna?
Sure.
I think as long as you roll a 3.
22.
She doesn't seem to be lying.
Anna, what did you do?
But Anna, I'll stop you there. Anna kind of has to marry him now. It was kind of a deal.
No, that was not the arrangement. That was not the arrangement. No, we
That's what I heard.
we found some people in Daggerford who were able to assist you. But in order for them to help, we had to make Percival disappear. And so we brought him to Waterdeep. And we will just have to make sure that he never goes back to Daggerford again.
So you guys did that. I appreciate it. Anna, you still owe me money.
Yes, but
You know what I'm thankful for that whole
perhaps my new
situation?
husband has money. No, wait, no.
You know,
Never mind.
Altier, the one good thing about you getting sent to prison is I didn't have to buy her a new horse. So I think
Yeah, thanks for getting me out.
Of course. You
And
mean
Anna,
you?
keep your robes on. I'm used to being able to see things really well, but that was a distraction.
I'll be like, oh, like this,
I'm
and I'll
not
give her a
sure.
minor illusion of
Well,
the.
I mean, I did owe you. You did bring me back from the dead.
And it also convinced me that the halfling under the robe trick will not work.
No, never mind that. That's silly.
Okay, what are we?
So I don't know about you, but I think I'm going to turn in. It has been a long day.
Even though I know we're in camp, I still think we should do watch since everyone kind of has the attention of the stag still.
That's not a bad idea. I can take third and fourth watch, or assist on third and fourth.
I will take the last one as well.
Are we in the camp now with the surrounding of the wagons?
Yeah,
Okay, so I won't do that.
like
Then.
there are actual guards that are paid to do watch.
I only need to sleep for 4 hours, so
Okay,
I don't trust people.
Yeah, I'll
makes
take
sense.
first.
I'm gonna take second watch, and I'm gonna watch for any suspicious movement.
Gotcha. All right. Well, not a whole lot happens. Like the whole camp itself is very much on edge for the entire night, but you guys are able to sleep through the night and just to kind of move things along a little bit. The next day, towards the end of the day, you guys are able to make it to Waterdeep, and that is where we are going to end it for tonight. So I want to thank the lovely people who showed up to play today. If you missed any of this, I do upload these all on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TrainerJody. I am like a month behind right now, like a month and a half at this point, and that is entirely because my IRL life has been very, very busy. I will get to uploading all of these and my other game to my YouTube channel as quickly as possible. It has just not been possible recently. But if you want to continue watching, definitely follow me here on Twitch. Follow me on Twitter. I'm at Trainer Jody on Twitter. Next week would normally be a week that I take off, but because I've had to cancel a couple of times, we are going to run this campaign again next week. So if you just tune in 8:30 Central Time here, you guys can see what happens in Waterdeep and where else they go. So, yeah, otherwise, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time, all right? Bye-bye!